One of the hard things about living in a digital world is that I feel as if every time I open my news, I get bad news, and you're always reading like the horrible things that people do. And so in an effort to combat that, I always try to share when something great happens and you get to see something so encouraging. And so yesterday I was flying from Indianapolis to DFW, flying home with my son, and he's 8 months old. And the beginning of the flight was so easy. He slept on me, which is what he normally does in the plane. But then he was getting like really fussy and squirmy and just all over the place. So I was like, okay, well, we're in the air now. The seatbelt sign is off, so I'm gonna get up and walk the aisles. So back and forth, we just went up and down the whole plane. And there was another mom. There was only 2 kids on the whole plane, and her son was having the same struggles. He was 16 months old. And so we looked at each other and I was like, you're doing great. And she goes, you are too. And I was like, we're halfway there. I don't know what part of the country we're on, but we had been in the air for about an hour. And anyways, then one of the flight attendants, who was so sweet, was like, you can go up past first class and stand if you'd like in that little area where we prep the snacks, because they'd already done the snacks. And I was like, thank you so much. And so me and the other mom and both the kids, we just stood up there and we were all chit-chatting, and we could show the boys out the window, and we could, she had extra snacks, and the flight attendant was just so kind. And we're just standing there talking, and then all of a sudden, my little guy just starts projectile vomiting everywhere. I mean, like the flight attendant's shoes, my shoes, the floor. And so the other mom was like, okay, hey, she gets her little boy and they skirt around. And then the second flight attendant, who is also amazing, she grabs like a bag and holds it under him. And then the other mom comes back and she's like, do you need wipes? I've got wipes. I was like, yes, please. And so anyways, I'm sitting there in this puking baby, and the flight attendants are like holding the bag. They're like wiping up the floor, and they're like, oh, poor baby. They're just like champs. So he continues to puke until literally it's time to land. And so the second flight attendant, who's been like holding the puke bag, is like, hey, I'm so sorry, but we do need you to be in a seat, because none of us are secured at this point. Like the flight attendants can't put their seats down because I'm like kneeling on the floor in front of their seats. And then I'm not buckled in, Warren's not buckled, like nothing. And so they're like, we'll help you as much as we can, but we do need you to try to get back to your seat. So I got back to my seat, and I'm holding Warren, I'm holding the puke bag, and like we make it the 5 minutes that it takes to like descend and touch down, but then we have to taxi in. And as we're taxiing in, he starts throwing up again. And so I'm like kneeling in the center aisle, because then I'm able to hold him more horizontally, because he's very bad at aiming his vomit into the bag. Who'd have thought? Anyways, and so I'm like holding him in the aisle. He's crying, I'm crying. The people around me are just like, oh, And so then a flight attendant comes up from the back and she's like, what do you need? And I was like, honestly, if you could just get me off this plane as soon as possible for everybody's sake, like, please, I know we're almost to the gate. And so she's like, okay. And so she makes a call up to the front flight attendant. The front flight attendant's like, hey, she gets on the loudspeaker and she says, hey, as you may have noticed, there's a baby that's not feeling very well. So if y'all could please, just as a courtesy, stay seated when we get to the gate, and we'll try to get that baby off first, and then everyone else can get off. And I was like so grateful. And so anyways, we pull up at the gate, and then one guy stands up and starts to get his stuff. And I don't think he heard the announcement, but anyways, this lady in the back goes, sit down. This poor mother needs to get off. So he like looks around, and then he like sits back down because no one else is standing up. That was funny. So then I get off, I'm like carrying him. The flight attendant from the front comes back, and she carries out like my diaper bag and my cooler bag with my breast milk and everything else. And I'm carrying the puking child. And then I'm like hunched, sitting on the floor at like where the platform meets the plane before you get into the gerbil tube that goes into the airport, because they're getting my stroller for me. And then the pilot gets off, and he's like, what do you need? And I was like, honestly, like, my husband is right outside the doors, security. Can he get a gate pass and come in? And he's like, no, but I've got 3 hours. I'll come with you. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, I've got 2 kids. I know what it's like. Traveling with kids is hard. Give me 1 second. And so he goes and gets his stuff. And then he pushes my stroller with the diaper bag and the cooler bag. And I'm still carrying Warren with the puke bag. And then he comes with me all the way out and through the exit doors to the baggage claim, where Cameron, praise the Lord, is there. And so anyways, then I was like, thank you so much. And I just wanted to say, those people are heroes. Like, not only were they not, oh, and then the other mom and dad, the other family on there, as they were coming out, they're like, what do you need? And then like this other random gentleman who wasn't even part of the whole first drama was like, do you need anyone to carry your stuff? Like, I can help you carry your stuff. Like, it was just awesome. And then Cameron told me later that when I had urgently texted him right when we landed, like, Warren is vomiting, meet me at the gate. He had started to pray that everyone would jump in and help. And so this is just my shout out to American Airlines and the pilot Richard and the flight attendants, Allie and Ainsley. Thank you. You are amazing. You made such a difference for a mama who was so overwhelmed and a sweet baby who was struggling. And then the good news is Warren is not sick. I think it was just motion sickness because he's been fine. No more puking. Like, we got home, he ate, no more vomit. So also, if anyone, what do you do for infants with motion sickness? Like, he can't take Dramamine. Anyways, but there's your good news clip for the day.